This usually takes a while to start, so I am just going to leave this for a couple of... figure out the URLs and everything. Alright. And Chrome is all... staring at a slowly rotating blue ring. Do this before I do it, I believe in you. Oh boy. Okay, we've closed one of the redundant tabs. Wait for anything to stop so I can click the YouTube button directly in front of me. Good. Getting there, we're making progress. I guess by the time this finally opens, the stream will definitely be public. That. Come on. Open. See the YouTube logo. Good. Okay, we have 4 viewers. Thank you. I will be there in a sec. I will be able to read chat. I just need to get the URL first. Thank you. Eight viewers. Thank you. I can't see the chat yet. I'll be able to in a sec. Just, this computer is a potato. Does not like running this many programs. Do you have a like already? Thank you, whoever that was. Oh, good, I see Neo Lucky, and Beautiful Baronet Tutu, and Undra. Good. I'm just going to tweet out this link. And then I will have to go post it in Discord and then immediately leave Discord. Stop the thing crashing. Guess this gives us time for people to show up. Gonna require some explanation. I just need to type the word now. We've successfully typed starting. Okay, good. Starting now. Thank you. I actually restarted my computer, like, before this to make sure there weren't a ton of redundant processes running. So it is just exactly what we need, and it is, like, already borderline unusable. Okay, Discord is up. I just need to... no, with Mathar I can read chat. We have a different setup this time. Okay, give us another minute or so. Yes, the poor potato. Yeah, this is like an off-the-shelf business machine. It is not good at anything but typing. Can't even do that very well. So running the Elgato Capture and OBS and Chrome and Discord at the same time. It is chugging. On the plus side, we don't seem to be dropping frames. I was worried about. And I put a noise gate on the mic, so you will be spared the airport-esque sound of my PS4 whirring in the background. I can see we're getting some stuttering, but that is the Elgato, that is not the stream. And Discord has decided to just loop the stupid lol random internet quote thing it does at the start. Okay, good. These wacky messages really are test sex, lol. Thank God. Okay, Laura's already messaged. She's messaged me about Hatsune Miku. I'll just post it here and then close this. Up. Okay. Close Discord, and I can hopefully get this show on the road. Oh, hey, Cain. Yeah. Well, we all know about Neo Lucky's sleep schedule. Quite similar to mine. I got 14. I think that's a good place to start. So, yeah, it's 8:05. I guess I'll give it another minute. You can see we have a little split screen setup, which I have made, and we're going to be flicking between different little things on the side as we go through this beta map comparison. Ironworks, by the way, is the guy who made I Wanna Be the Guy. A game that is as hard as people think the Souls games are. You can also switch back to full screen. But be using this. I desperately want Sin to play I Wanna Be the Guy because she has somehow managed to reach, like, this point in history without knowing what it is. Hey, Trin is here! People may know Trin from the Tomb Prospectors Discord server and Reddit. She is a absolute font of Chalice Dungeon knowledge. And, yeah, I specifically wanted to stream at this time, so that people in other time zones could see it. Okay, we're at 20. I think we'll start. So let's just load up an explanation of what we're doing. I'm on little slide. Good. Okay. So, in late 2018 through to early 2019, there was an exhibition in London. It was called Video Games Design, Play, Disrupt. And it showed off a bunch of concept art and development stuff from different games, and one of them was Bloodborne. And we knew this was happening. And we were very curious about trying to, like, figure what were they going to show off. And luckily there's, like, fans in London who we were already friends with, them being, specifically in this case, it was Astral Lace, aka Laura, who we have had on this before, and also Vodka Folly, who has not been on our channel, but she is an artist who we retweet a lot, and she has a Don't Give Up Skeleton episode if you're curious about her, like, relationship. Oh, hey! Laura's here. Hello, Laura. So yeah, they went there, and they took photographs of everything. And one of the things they took a photograph of was a very, very early map of Yharnam. And this map was not very big. I will show it to you later on. There'll be a paperclip in shot for scale, but it was tiny. Hey, Vodka's here as well. Cool. Okay, you're both here. Thank you. This could not have happened without you. So what happened was, they took photographs of the exhibition, and then they sent them to myself and Meph, who is the woman that runs BloodborneWiki.com. So we went over those with a fine-tooth comb, and we noted, like, all the differences, and we organized everything. If you want to see a full, like, write-up of that exhibition in detail, you can go to Bloodborne-wiki.com, and there is a section called Art of Bloodborne. If you click that, that will take you to a write-up of that exhibition. Okay, Vodka can't stay for long. That's okay, this will be archived, so you'll be able to watch it later on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through that map, which I hacked into pieces. To sort of zoom in on parts of it. I will show you the full map. So, this thing here, that is the full map. That thing in the top left corner, that is a paperclip. So that gives you a rough idea of how small this map was. But nevertheless, it is a complete map of the way Bloodborne was at the time. And you can see there, it's Yharnam and Cainhurst. The nightmare areas are not present, but they're mentioned. There's like arrows that point and say, this is how you enter. It's an old name for the nightmare, they call it Trap Road. So, what we're going to do in this stream is, I have zoomed in, rotated, and cropped that map, area by area. So, this is a file in which I've, like, clearly you can see the workshop's on fire, so I've beaten the wet nurse, I've beaten every boss, all the areas are open, and we will just be able to zoom around and have a look at these different places and see how they change. And that little window that I'm using to crop the, like, side of the screen, that's actually Microsoft Paint. So, if I want, I can just, like, write on this image and you can see it. I'll be using that to point things out as I go. But probably not that brush, because it's quite ugly. So, the first place we want to go is... some of these are more interesting than others, so I'm trying to, like, stagger it by showing you, like, a boring place and then an interesting place. So, a place that did not change that much is Central Yharnam. So, we will head there. Also, if people remember, the last stream I did was a time zone manipulation stream where I used glitches to change the time of day. One of the questions people had was, what happens if you beat the wet nurse and then reset the time? Does that stop the workshop catching fire? You can see the workshop is still on fire, but I think we have the old skybox. I'm not entirely sure, I'd have to do a comparison. Anyway, off to Central Yharnam. Oh yeah, the term Trap Road. Trap Road is... It's like a legit term. I see it on Japanese sites a lot. It's just another way of saying obstacle course. So, like, they call Sen's Fortress in Dark Souls Trap Road. Like, colloquially, and there's like Mario levels that are just called Bowser's Trap Road in Japanese. So they're calling the nightmare areas Trap Road because it's like this massive obstacle course full of all this, like the Mensa's brain and everything. So, this is something I said I would show off and I didn't get to, because I ran out of time. This is Transformed Gilbert by Sunlight. Normally he only transforms after the red moon. I'm just gonna mute this so it doesn't get away. So yeah, that is a Transformed Gilbert by day. And he's dead. My favorite hat for the messengers, I don't know. I don't really use the hats much. I pre-ordered this, so I got the hat, like the code that you could put in to get the, like, DLC hat, and then I never used it, and now the code is no longer valid. So no fedoras for my messenger. So, okay, the area is now safe. Gonna have to kill everything before I start drawing, which is kind of not great. Nevertheless, you have a monocular, it's fine. Oh. There's your stuff. So, Cayenne does love trap roads. Did a whole game of them. So, we'll do Iosefka's clinic separately. I just want to show where it is. Iosefka's the area that I'm looking at, that leads off to, like, you can see old Yharnam beneath it. This is, like, this is the area outside the clinic with the carriage. And what happened is we went up, and this is kind of roughly where we are now. So, this is an area that did not change much, but we'll have a look anyway, because you can see a couple of... Also, yeah, this is my character that I used a bug to get to, like, level 270, I think. So, nothing is going to bother us. Weapon isn't even fully upgraded. It's like I am not even playing very well. Okay. Here's where I want Oh, hang on. I got the wrong. Yeah, it's cropping it based on the window side. I can't. Okay, so this is the path that you will face the right direction. So we'll face Cathedral. So we're like here. And then over to this side is the kind of like aqueduct shortcut that goes to Gascoigne. This is like Gascoigne's like family's resident, and that over there is the bridge that leads to the cleric beast. So if we turn around, you can kind of see that like this map goes way back. There's like something back here that we can't get to. Like if we... Hang on, I'll show you. Like if we walked, we would stop around like there. That's about where we'd stop. But there's like a whole... Like there's something past here on this map. Like you can see that there is a path. And it looks like, I don't know, there was like something back here originally, a much longer version of the bridge. And I'll just show you the cleric beast. The cleric beast is obviously dead. Did not leave anyone alive. It was smooth. Also, I can't promise this will be done yet because I have to climb that stupid tower. It's really easy to fall off, so it's possible we will like fall to our death at some point. So right now we are here. This is the arch where the cleric beast's like boss fog appears. And you can see like on the map, I'll change the brush color. On the map this is red. It's like red pen. Generally, like this map it's based on like an aerial model that they made. But some parts of it have like handwritten notes on it. And the reason this part of the bridge is red is because there's like a note there that says this is how you connect to Cathedral Ward. Like one of the things that perplexed people about Bloodborne when it first came out is, and everyone kind of knows where I'm going with it, is this door, which does nothing. Cannot do anything, it is not even interactable. And, like, having spoken to, like, Lance and stuff, that's not even a door anymore. That is just a wall that they've drawn a door on. So there's absolutely no way to interact with it at all. But you'll remember, like, when the game first came out, there was a prompt that said that door was locked. And, like, in early versions it is a working door, and that's because, like, that is red because it used to go, like, into Cathedral Ward through that door. And then basically because it was having loading issues, they had to get rid of it. So you can see, like, yeah, this was, like, it's red. It was definitely going to be a connecting bridge area. So, like I said, Central Yharnam didn't change much. So, we'll depart for now. Back to full screen. And get my next slide ready. Which is somewhere that went through a lot more changes. And that is Byrgenwerth. Oh, hello, Dominic. Yeah, I can actually see the chat this time. The game's too loud. Ah, I apologize. I will lower it. So we are now in Byrgenwerth. Kyan's asking about loading issues. The reason, basically, like, the game was having issues streaming areas from disks. So, the problem is, like, if you started the game, ran to Cathedral, like, ran to the Cleric Beast, beat them, and then the door opened, it's possible that, like, Cathedral Ward would not have been fully installed. That's basically, like, what happened. That's why. And, like, if you play the game unpatched off disk, it, like, whole areas don't load properly. It has a lot of problems. So a lot of the, like, weird progression in Bloodborne is caused by that. Like, they just had to very quickly, like, come up with ways to make things load faster, and if they couldn't, they just had to remove how it worked. Coda's asking me to republic my videos. If you just go to my channel, there are playlists there. I just didn't, they're just not searchable anymore. You can find them. So, this is Byrgenwerth. You can see, like the Cleric Beast Bridge, we have a little red thing. Here. Like a little red arrow. Just saying, okay, this is the connecting area. Is Cainhurst part of the original design? Yeah, and we will go there and you will see, like, how much of that castle got removed. So we're roughly, like, where that red mark is. Now I'm just going to get rid of the flies. Deal with them jumping on. Show you around. I guess while we're talking removed stuff, those fly people, one of their heads is available as a drop. Like, you can wear it. Kind of like the enlarged head in the research. And, there's also, like, a unique one of those that loads in Iosefka's clinic but isn't ever, like, actually triggered in-game. So, the theory is that there would only have been one of those fly people. It would have been, like, a unique encounter, and then when you killed it, you would have gotten the head. And then wearing it would have done something. Okay. I'm just gonna stand on the pier. Sorry, the Tsukimi. No one can up here. So, okay. Oh, issues with Cainhurst. Cainhurst is cut like, I don't know. There's a lot removed from Cainhurst. I'll show you when we get there. So we are now here, and we're looking out that way. So terrible. We'll draw a little vision cone like metal solid. Okay. As you can see, There really isn't anything out there. There is this building here. Sorry. This building here. Now, you may recognize the layout of this, because this is the lecture hall that you visit in the Nightmare. And I'll show you, like, when we get there, that it's the same design. But you can see, like, the original idea behind Byrgenwerth is it's massive. It's this whole, like, campus. Whereas in the game we get, it's just this little, like, study area with Willem in it. So, this part here... gotta start coloring these differently so it's not confusing. This part here, that is just in the Nightmare. That's the part where you fight the melty people. So, we're clear on where that is, and like Lance has shown off that this is still technically there. It's not there. They moved it like, it's kind of over here now, and it's just invisible. To the point where if you're in the lecture hall and you like turn off clipping, you can run from the lecture hall just like to Byrgenwerth. Like they're on the same map, they're connected. But the really interesting part is, what the actual fuck is this? Like, this is an absolutely massive structure. We have no idea what it did or what was there, but it's like, it's bigger than the rest of Byrgenwerth put together, and it's just kind of down there. So, big question mark over what this is. I will show you what I think it might have been. Like, that kind of... And also, another obvious thing about Byrgenwerth is that we're in Byrgenwerth now. There's a giant lake. And the lake is not there. So the whole, like, it's... I talked about this when I streamed the time zone manipulation, but, like, the thing that we all associate Byrgenwerth with is that huge lake. And it's not there. It was, like, added later on. They had a completely different plan for it, and, like, the most important part of Byrgenwerth just wasn't there. And I guess that kind of explains, like, why it just goes off into the distance and nothing is there, because, like, there was supposed to be stuff there, and they just kind of, like, deleted the whole thing. Okay, Painful Discourse is talking about, like, it might be a bridge to Mikolash's boss room. Matt... Oh, Matt is Dignity City on Twitter. I recognize his avatar. He's saying, like, it could be part of Upside Down Byrgenwerth. So, I'll explain Upside Down Byrgenwerth on the way to the lecture hall, because there's going to be a ton of loading screens. Upside Down Byrgenwerth is something that Lance found. And he found, like, it is what it sounds like. It is an upside-down version of Byrgenwerth that just exists in the files. It's fully modeled. And it's Byrgenwerth, but it's that building there. The, waiting for the stream to catch up. Yeah, it's this place. It's that, but just, like, upside down. Like, just grab it and invert the Z-axis. So, there was this theory that, like, oh, upside, is that, like, an early version of the Nightmare? Would you have, like, gone to, instead of the lecture hall, it's, like, an entire inverted Byrgenwerth, kind of like Symphony of the Night. But we figured out what it actually is, and this is completely disappointing, is that when you were fighting Rom, to, like, emphasize the whole reflection aspect, there would have been an upside-down Byrgenwerth in the sky. To just show you that, like, yep, you're, like, underwater and there is a reflection on the surface. That's all it was. It wasn't, like, a secret area or anything. But every time I, like, resize this window, it changes. What if they built the map and changed it due to lore? Like, the story went through so many different iterations that, like, everything was changed at, like, multiple times. So, like, we don't know... Like, there were changes for the story, and there were changes for technical reasons. Which is why, like, whenever I bring up something that's removed and people say, ah, like, the wise man descends, but it was cut for a reason. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it's cut for the reason that they didn't think it was working narratively. and other times it was cut because, like, the PS4 couldn't make it work. So there's a slight difference there when you're talking about, like, things being cut. So the reason I am in the lecture hall is, like, this is very clearly just a missing part of Byrgenwerth. I'll show you where we are relative to everything else, because there is a unique room we're coming to now. So there'll be a slime dude on the ceiling. I just want to get rid of... Drop, good. Right. The room we are in now, you can see it is circular. And I remember, like, Sin and I have joked about this, like, what is the point of this room? And I think Sin suggested it was a room where Byrgenwerth scholars went speed dating. It's this. This is where we are now. And if we leave, you can see there is a door here. So the door would have been here. You would have, like, been able to wander around Byrgenwerth and go in the room here. So as to what... Hello, Miguel. Yeah, I can see the chat, but I have to keep tabbing between windows to do it. So, like... Face this way. This is the way we're currently facing. So you can see, like, this matches. This is the same building. This room here, we're not sure why it's a circle. I have a theory that it is a spiral staircase that they removed. Because I sort of can't think of what else it could be. The way you currently go up and down this, the like, floors in Byrgenwerth is a ladder. Which seems like a very odd choice for what is meant to be this, like, weird Baroque university that all these, like, including Willem, who doesn't appear to be able to walk, would have gone up and down a ladder. And also, like, you've got, like, the students here are made of slime, so I don't know how that would have worked out. But yeah, I very strongly suspect that these, like, weirdly shaped circular rooms, that would have been the way you got to and from the second floor of Byrgenwerth. Another interesting thing is that, like, back at Byrgenwerth, the top of Willem's area here, that has, like, a telescope. There's, like, a big, like, observatory thing. And I'm wondering if, like, maybe the spiral staircase led to the observatory, because you can see, like... Get rid of these. This is an aerial view of the area. So you can see that, like, there's something apparently circular that extends upward through the top of the building. So I'm thinking that might have been where the observatory used to be, and then they moved. You also, like, I'll just keep yammering while I wait for, like, various loading screens and things, but you'll remember that, like, near Willem, there is a trapdoor. I'm not going to warp all the way back there to show you, but there's, like, a trapdoor in Byrgenwerth. It's around here. And, Lardner's saying that's where the Phantasm Shell is now. Yeah, that's where it is. Oh, hey, Katie's here. Hello. So, that's, like, roughly where Willem's trapdoor is. If you've watched Lance's streams, you'll know that, like, that door did used to lead somewhere. Like, there's, like, a gap underneath it that's, like, been deliberately put there. So, my thinking, like, when when the DLC came out, I know people looked at the research hall and thought, oh, is that supposed to be, like, the bottom of Byrgenwerth? Is the DLC just going to open that trapdoor? And of course it didn't, and we never found out what was down there. My current thinking... Sorry, the cat just came in because it's raining. Hopefully the rain isn't that distracting because I've put a noise gate on the mic. So, Lance's channel is great, yeah. Yeah, so people have pointed out Altar of Despair. This is what I think. And I have nothing to really back it up other than, like, you will see when we get to the cathedral, the Altar of Despair wasn't there, surprising absolutely no one. So, this area here is, like, it is a tunnel that appears to... Like, if we assume this is a tunnel for a second, you would, like, go down somewhere and it would lead to, like, a big open area. And, of course, when we go to fight Ebrietas... Get rid of these. This is essentially what we're shown. Like, there is this kind of atrium thing there, and it leads to a pathway that leads to, like, a big open area. So, the other thing in the Altar of Despair that everyone's like, why the fuck is that there? There's a dead Rom in the... There's a dead Rom here. And, like, no one understands why this is here. It makes absolutely no sense. Broken microphone wondering where the maps are from. The maps are from an exhibition that was shown, like, they were shown off. I talked about it at the beginning. There's a place you can access them. I'll post it later on. V the Wanderer saying, good work, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, yeah, Katie's saying she's not dead, she's just asleep. I suspect that is what was happening. Because, like, we know from our previous adventure in Byrgenwerth that there is no lake here. The way you currently encounter Rom is, you go plop into the lake and Rom is just down there. But there's no lake here, so how did you encounter Rom? So if we assume for a second that, like, you somehow went down into this area and it led to Rom's corpse, that would explain an awful lot. Because, like, again, this is a very early map, and at this point, the way in which you go to and from the Dreamlands isn't lanterns, it's corpses. So this would have made, like, the Rom thing kind of similar to the Mikolash thing. Because the way that you go to the Nightmare of Mensis is you touch Mikolash's corpse and that takes you there. So I very strongly suspect that you would have gone, like... keep in mind, Willem used to be, like, the first boss of Byrgenwerth. The bosses were Willem and then Rom. So I suspect you would have beaten Willem. Willem would have dropped something that let you down into, like, this, and you would have found Rom's corpse underneath. And then touching Rom would have taken you to the Rom boss fight. And, like, Lance has talked about this. There's a guy called Mug that's shown it off as well. Rom's corpse, like, right now what it does is it can resurrect Annalise. But it also has a trigger for a cutscene. And the cutscene no longer exists. But, like, this did used to do something. This had some function other than resurrecting Annalise. And that function involved a cutscene playing. So it very much looks like, at least from what I can tell, that the Rom corpse at this point in the story, when everything is based on using corpses to warp to different places, probably warped you somewhere. And I honestly, like, that is the most sense I can make out of this stupid Altar of Despair, a place that makes absolutely no sense. There's another part that I want to show off, relating to the Altar of Despair. And I did not realize this until recently-ish. I was going over some concept art, and it's more apparent there. Is that... I'll get rid of the Byrgenwerth map for a while, because we've established how this works. Probably guess where I'm going. Problem is I have to run everywhere, so there's no way to dramatically cut to what I'm talking about. Now, something we're going to show off when we, like, get to the Forbidden Woods map is that this cavern wasn't there originally. This was, like, shifted from somewhere else. And if you look at it, it's like a very similar kind of underground area. And there's tons of just tomb mold. There's the same shafts of light you get in the altar. And it's also very clearly, like, part of the Thumerian labyrinth that's dug up. So, again, I very strongly suspect that this cavern also used to be part of this. And then, when it... Hang on, I'll bring my thing back. Take 2. I very strongly suspect that this cavern used to be part of this. Used to be part of the Altar of Despair. And then, when they cut that part of Byrgenwerth, they just went, like... chop. And that became the cavern where we are now. And that became where you fight Ebrietas. I don't know that for certain, but, like, based on the way things have sort of, like, turned out, I very strongly suspect it's that. And I will show you some other stuff that got moved later on. So let's... chat. And a lot of people pointing out the world is a mess. It definitely... Actually, while we're doing this, I will show you just how much of a mess this ended up being. Again, for those of you who aren't usually here when I'm streaming, my computer is so fucking bad that MS Paint makes it lag. So... right. This is an example of how much the world got changed. This is a very, very old map. It's the one we've been working off of. This is Hemwick. That's Byrgenwerth. So they used to be really, really close to each other. Like, the forest outside of Hemwick and Forbidden Woods, like, were the same kind of, like, area. And there's actually you'll see other places that got rotated as well, but there's notes on this that straight up say, like, rotate this area 90 degrees. So, like, if you've tried, like, looking at certain places in Bloodborne from other places, they appear to be rotated strangely. Old Yharnam is a really good example. It's like, it sort of will shift 90 degrees depending on where you look at it from. But, like, this is kind of why that happens, is that they built the maps, and then they were like, oh, we don't like where Byrgenwerth is, we're gonna have to move it. So they just went, like... yoink! And just moved it down there. So, we are now in Hemwick. And we are roughly... I have to reset the color every time. We are roughly here, where the witch is. So, Hemwick's map is mostly interesting because of the various notes that have been written here by the developers. You can see there's, like, some scrawled, like, Japanese text just in red pen and a couple of arrows. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the Hemwick women here so we can wander around without being stabbed. Nothing could really kill us, but also it's like... it's just irritating having to deal with this stuff. So one of the things everyone kind of noticed about Hemwick... I'm going to deal with more. Move, I'm level 270. Okay. Is that... the witch's abode is enormous in comparison to where we actually go. So, like, this is huge, huge area, but in the actual game, in terms of what we do, we just go, like, plop, and then the Witch of Hemwick is there. So, this whole space just isn't used. Yeah, Witch's Abode, we will talk about Witch's Abode being backwards. Very, very shortly. So, you'll notice that Witch's Abode has... actually, we'll talk about the backwards thing first. One of the notes on Witch's Abode is that, you know that the hunter corpse that's down there, that you get the Rune Workshop tool from, that's mentioned in the notes. And it says that, basically, like, you would touch that corpse, and that would be the thing that transported you to the hunter's dream. This is why I was harping on about Rom's corpse earlier. is that, like, obviously this area's been hacked up. About 75% of, like, this space that this mansion occupies isn't used. But, like, this dead hunter down here, I always assumed, oh, that's just been shoved there to give Hemwick a reason to exist. But that used to be, according to the notes anyway, it may not have been this exact corpse, but there would have been a dead hunter. You would have started the game in Hemwick, and then you would have found a dead hunter, and when you touched the hunter's corpse, that's what would have bound you to the hunter's dream. It's like almost like the hunters, like, they're I don't know what you'd call it. They're like, not that all their destiny sounds a little too grand, but like they talk about it in they talk about, like, the people who carry the torch of the hunt and the people who, like, inherit the hunt. You would have inherited, like, a dead hunter's hunt. And that's what would have, like, started off the whole hunter's dream deal. So yeah, you would have started the game in Hemwick. And one of the things you will notice about Hemwick, like an area that most people just ignore because there's not a great deal here and you just do it to get the Rune Workshop tool, but Hemwick makes a great deal more sense if you do it backwards. So I'm going to show that off. Like, if you imagine you start here and then... There's some doggos. Oh. I can't believe they all followed me up here. I thought they'd be aggro. They're ruining my stream. Good. So, if you imagine you start in Hemwick, the first thing you would see in the distance is this gigantic silhouette of Yharnam, because that's your destination. Because if, like, obviously this draws a lot from, like, people go on about the Lovecraft influence, and it's certainly there, but, like, it also draws a lot just from, like, gothic horror tropes and stuff. And this is, like, the classic kind of vampire thing of, I'm on my way to the creepy city, and then on the way I stop in this, like, weird hamlet, and everyone's like, oh, don't go there, it's cursed. So that's what Hemwick would have been. It's like just a village on the outskirts of Yharnam where you would have started. And, like, I'll keep going, because I'll show you. You get a lot of really, really nice views of Yharnam if you follow this path. Like, I'll just switch back to full screen to show you. Like, yeah, you're just constantly, if you go through it from this direction, you just see Yharnam, like, all the time. And also, like, in terms of things being rotated, that is the back of Upper Cathedral Ward, but it's like, that's an area that's been rotated as well. It doesn't quite match, like, what we end up seeing. But yeah, that is why you see so much of Yharnam on the way back, because that's how they set it up. Just checking the chat. A lot of stuff seems cool the way it was cut. Yeah. That was a kitty, yeah. It's bucketing rain outside, so the cat is torn between wanting to be out of the rain and wanting to fight other cats. Let's find somewhere safe to settle down. Lance found this and he's mentioned it, but he hasn't made a video on it yet. So, like, consider this a preview. Here's the most actually, no. Firstly, one of the theories that we had, like, early on is that the way you get to Cainhurst is there's a ghost carriage. Like, literally just a ghost carriage shows up around about here, and then it's like, horsey away, and you go to Cainhurst. And we kind of always thought, oh, you probably went to Cainhurst from the back of the witch's abode, because there's, like, a broken bridge there. So we're thinking, okay, I bet you just went to Witch's Abode, and then, like, there was a bridge, and it went directly to Cainhurst, and, like, they made the ghost carriage later on. No. The map is very clear. There was always a ghost carriage. They always wanted there to be, like, a phantom carriage to take you to Cainhurst. So, the most interesting thing about this is this little area here. That is, you can kind of, I'll undo the, so you can see. Like, that is not part of the SketchUp model. That is, like, drawn by hand in, like, red pen. Kind of uneven. And there's an arrow pointing away from it. Because of the way I've cropped it, you can't see the associated note. But the note says, this leads you to Trap Road. Meaning, like, the back of Witch's Abode was the original way you got to the Nightmare area. It says, this leads to Trap Road, and then there is a note saying, a madman appears. And the madman, like, it's something like madman will help you jump. And, like, I'll show you what we mean by jumping later on, but, like, there's a note, it's like, the madman appears and helps you jump, and that takes you to Trap Road. And we were like, ooh, who's the madman? So it turns out that, you want to know who's got an unused variant for Hemwick? Mikolash. Mikolash has an unused Hemwick variant. So it looks like, as bizarre as it sounds, Mikolash, Pagehead Boy, is, like, at the end of the game, would have been hanging around there. Like, on the back of Witch's Abode. And then he would have, like, he would have jumped or kicked you or something into the big lake in front of Cainhurst. And that's how you would have gotten to the Nightmare Frontier. And that sort of makes sense, of why he's running away from you and screaming throughout his boss fight. Is because, like, presumably you were chasing him. And you chased him to Hemwick. And then, when he gets to Hemwick, he jumps in the lake. And that's why he's still running from you, and he's like, oh, a hunter in a dream. Anyway, this is actually a bad place to show it. Cainhurst is annoying to get around because there's only, like, 2 and a bit lanterns. I will switch this out to Cainhurst to begin with. Thankfully, Cainhurst is quite small, though it didn't used to be. So, we are roughly, like... Get this back. We are roughly, like, here. And you can already see, like, without... If you just know the area, hey, this looks a lot bigger than it used to be. And you are correct. So I just want to rush through here. Thankfully, this area is quite short. Just show you, like, some of the stuff that got cut. And we'll have to do 2 different warps in this point, because I want to show you something on the roof that... Probably quicker to warp there than it is to run there. Actually, no, let's run there, fuck it. The ghosts appear? No, okay, I haven't taken anything. Good. So we're here. We are in... here. No, we're here. You can see that, like, there's a whole, like, this wing here of that room. You can see that wing from outside, but you can never go into it. Like, it's just, you just see the roof. So I'm very strongly suspecting that, like... Let me head up here. There's just this, like, wall. And there's really no reason to come up here apart from, like, there's a blood chunk here that are kind of rare at this point in the game. So it's like, yeah, you want to come here, but pretty strongly suspect that, like, there would have been a way to access that building. And when we get off, you can see it is connected, seemingly. So, you know when you fight Logarius, there's, like, a tower in the background? Looks very much like it's connected to the tower. So, I'll go over my, like, ideas about how Cainhurst might have worked thing as we progress, but for now, there is a wing we cannot get to. I haven't aggroed the ghosts here, so we... Think of the devil. I get rid of all of them so they actually get stabbed one. I think that's all of them. Okay, good. Actually, while we're here, the wrong one. Or is it? Gotta be another. There it is. Okay. That's Lawrence. Oh, like, I think I've explained this with Sin before, but like, there is so much confusion over who this guy is and everything about him. It's like, it's pretty clear at this point that's Lawrence. Because Lawrence was the guy that brought the blood to Cainhurst to begin with. So they have a nice framed portrait of Lawrence here, and he, like, brought them the old blood, and then Annalise had her kid and he betrayed them, because he was using her to get at a Great One's child. So, we went through the hall, and we went up, and we're in this room here, right now. Hello, kitty. And when we go outside, you can see that, like, it's hard to tell because it's hard to differentiate between, like, buildings and just map geometry of, like, mountains and because of how it's constructed. But it kind of looks like there's like, pathways coming off here that don't currently exist. Because you can see that, like, there's that one that I'm looking at now. But then it also seems like there might have been, like, you can see there's, like, the battlements of the castle down here. And, like, to be fair, they could have just modeled the geometry. It doesn't necessarily mean it was walkable, but anyway. And I will show you when I was talking about jumping off the back of Hemwick, because we get a good view of it up here. Get rid of some of these lost children of antiquity. Where are you? Like how if you've played something enough, the jump scares become increasingly like running into an old friend, like, I remember you. Yep. Here you go. Okay. So when I said, like, jumping off the back of Hemwick, I'll point at it with the monocular. It's sort of hard to see from, like, this distance, but Lance has shown it off. I'm up close. There is a balcony there, and it looks very much like the balcony on the Hemwick map. So you would have been able to, like, jump from there into the lake. You can see, like, there's the path there that we assumed the carriage used to go down, but it doesn't. And yeah, that would have taken you to the Nightmare Frontier originally. And then it looks like they reused the concept with ROM of you jumping into a lake to get somewhere. So, actually, yeah, I will just keep going. So I was going to walk directly to the roof, but, like, it's probably quicker if I just run there, because I'll have to sit through 4 loading screens if I do that. A relief to be running through here and not worrying about being killed by Ligarius. Take a chat while I'm climbing. I thought it was the sea. No, it's a lake. Hey, Harvey. Okay, so I guess while I'm in the library, I'll talk a little bit about this. People might have seen back when we had the great Bloodborne data dump of Ort 17 that there was this weird, like, kind of short, fat healing church guy who we just found, and he had a book with him, and we could never figure out exactly what the deal with him was. He's very clearly meant to look like, because this game cribs, like, entire, like, set pieces from the Coppola Dracula movie from '92. He's very clearly meant to be Anthony Hopkins from that movie, like, aesthetically. And you'll notice that in Cainhurst, there's this massive, like, library with all these books scattered everywhere. And that dude has a book. And he's also got a very, very, like, big fur cape on that other members of the Healing Church don't wear. So it's like he was going somewhere cold. And then, while I was going through the NPC parameters, it turns out that there is a character who's never used, and we don't know who they were, but they're called Old Castle Library NPC. And I'm really, really, like, pretty convinced at this point that that's who that old guy was, because if you look at the design of this place, it's one of the few areas in the castle that is completely safe. Like, there are no enemies up here. Nothing up here could possibly hurt you. So if you stuck this, like, kind of bumbling Healing Church guy up here, he wouldn't be in any danger of being killed by anything. And he'd fit exactly, like, with this table full of books and chairs and everything. He was, like, researching something. So that is where that dude comes from, I am pretty sure. So, I guess, like, on the way up, this is not related to the map, but there's this. This, you can actually get up there, but it requires a very precise jump that I'm not convinced I could do. Like, on stream and not die. There's stuff up there, I'll show you where it connects to. It connects to just, like, the other side of this structure. So, like, it probably would go into that tower there, but, like, it's possible to, with some very precise falls. You can fall off the roof and get into that little, like, alcove passage. And it just loops back into there. There's nothing, there's not, like, a hidden room or anything. It's just a passage out there. But, yeah, it shows, like, it gives you a little impression of how much was cut. So let's just run past here, because I want to get to where Ligarius is. This is... Hopefully I won't slip and die on the way over, although I have a habit of... Actually, this is a good example of what I mean about, like, it being very obvious a lot was cut from Cainhurst. Because if you look down, there's just, like, huge... in this game in which everything is over-designed and opulent and crammed with detail, Cainhurst just has a ton of, like, just, here's a flat plane, here's some rocks, because there used to be more there. So where we are now is... This is kind of confusing. This is what we just went down, that, like, section of roof. And then there's this structure here. And then there's the room where we fight... Ligarius's roof is here. But you can see that, like, on the map, those two things are not connected. You cannot get from one to the other. The way in which we do it in-game is that there's just a bridge that extends here, and then there's a ladder. And having played these games a lot, whenever there's a conspicuously long ladder in one of them, I assume that these areas were not originally connected that way. Because it's kinda awkward. So... this is the roof where we fight Ligarius. We're now, like, here, and we're gonna go up here. So... while we get a good view up here, so... that's the tower I was talking about before. It's very prominent in the Ligarius fight. It's here. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing in-game. But they make a big deal out of it, and if you've seen any of Lance's, like, no-clip streams and stuff, when you're in Annalise's throne room, that tower... actually, it's that tower, sorry. Idiot. There's two towers that look very, very similar. That tower is, like, it stays loaded. So, like, what I mean is, when we're, like, running around here, obviously parts of the map that we're not interacting with, they're not loaded, because there's no point, because it's just, like, a drain on resources, and this game's already, like, has its a fair number of issues just running. When you're in Annalise's throne room and you cannot see that tower, it stays loaded in. Like, it's important for some reason, but it does nothing. And if you look at the construction of the map, the tower actually seems to connect that, like, unused wing of the castle to where Ligarius is. So it's almost like if you... The lantern's around, like, here. So it almost kind of would work if that tower was the way was like the Ligarius shortcut, because you'd be able to just, like, go that way rather than the current way, which is like this. Like, kind of an awkward way to get there. But I really suspect, like, that may have been a lift at one point. I actually got Lance to go, like, no-clip and look inside it, and he said, like, it's empty. But, I mean, there's other places where stuff was removed. Where I'm looking at now, that is the... Where I'm looking at now is this. It's like that wing that you never go to. If we, like, look down a little to the bottom, like, they're not... It's not technically connected, but, like, it doesn't mean it wasn't. Like, they're very close to each other, and there's sort of, like, there's no detail on the ground, which is sort of like a maybe giveaway that they changed something. Let's check chat, because both. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad people like the amount of information that's gone into this, because this took a very long time to set up, because I've had to, like, go over all these maps and everything. So, I am now going to tag this lantern, go back to the dream, and then come back here again, because what I'm about to do, there's a pretty good chance I will screw up repeatedly and have to keep reloading the area. But what I'm going to do is, I am going to show you the unused room that they left in. Because there's part of... It's clearly meant to be Annalise's throne room. It's like an exact copy, but they deleted it and they moved it. And if you've played the game, you will know, like, that the way you get to Annalise is kind of weird. Anyway, let's try it now. I may have to, like, repeatedly bolt Hunter's Mark during this. Or just, like, jump off the edge, because it's hard to get on your first attempt. So what we do is, very carefully... I say carefully, this is a total crapshoot. And didn't work. I can't do this reliably, but I can do it, say, 20% of the time. Distinctively saying, like, if Lance and Richard teamed up, we do. We chat about stuff. Because, usually, like, he will find things, and he'll be like, do you recognize this? Or, like, does this... He sometimes messages Vardy, but, like, obviously Vardy is popular. And sometimes, like, doesn't have time to answer these things. But, like, he will message me, like... He'll just sort of say, like, hey, does this look like something? Because, like, he knows I'm pretty au fait with things that were removed and, like, old trailers and stuff. So, like, we kind of collab a little. Collab is sort of pushing it, like, he's doing, like, 98% of the work. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. I remember that from E3. Well, we almost made it. Good. This happens sometimes. If we look up, we can... Oh, we can't, okay. If you fall like that with the monocular, you can, see the, like... You can sort of see the world disappear around you. I think we eventually... There is a kill plane here that we'll eventually hit, but I think I'll just... Oh, hey, Sin's here. Also, yeah, I am playing this offline, because... You know, I don't want to get invaded. Even though the bosses are dead, like... Better to be safe than sorry. Oh, come on. If this doesn't work, like, we'll give another couple of attempts. If I can't get it working, I will just, like, do the shitty way of showing you. The issue with not being able to edit things. Geronimo! Crap. We ever gonna die, or are we just... What I'm trying to do is land on those bricks you can see in the top right corner. Because they still work, they still have, like, clipping. You can land on them, and there is a room you can access. And, like, I've shown this off on Twitter and stuff before, and, like, there's other videos of other people doing it. Basically, there is a copy of... We'll do one more attempt. If it doesn't work, I'll just use the monocular, and you'll have to squint. There is a copy of Annalise's throne room. Like, underneath where Ligarius is. Oh, hang on. Okay. We're getting there. Holy shit. Okay. Yes! Good. Thank God. Alright. But you can see, like, these have clipping. You can wander around here. It's not obviously very well implemented, because I'm sticking through everything, but this is explorable. So, while I'm up here, right into falling off, because if I do, I will have to do that. Hang on, I want to... What happens if I... Damn it. Okay, enough of this. What I'm going to show you is... Like, from the... I should have shown this off before, I'm sorry. From, like, the courtyard of Cainhurst where you start. Hard to get a good angle on it. The door here is, like, shut. You can't see in there. There is a door in the way. If you land here, the door is not present. The door only exists from a distance. And if we go inside... You can walk... there is an invisible floor, but it doesn't go all the way. You can mark it out with shining coins. I'll try to do it. Like, eventually there is a drop, and you just fall through the map. Yeah, there. It extends this far. And you can see, like, there's just nothing here. There's no interior texture. So, that's really all I wanted to show off here. So I'll just, like, leap to my death and didn't work. A lot of these places don't, like, they won't have working clipping, but, like, there's sort of a failsafe for if you fall out of bounds for too long, it just automatically kills you, and then you respawn at the Hunter's Dream. If you've explored the developer chalices, you'll know what I mean. Like, there's rooms in there that you can just fall through the walls or the floor, and you'll end up in a void for a bit and then respawn at the Hunter's Dream. So I will now Hunter's back. That lantern. Sin defending Mighty Number 9. No comment. So, I haven't activated the throne room. So, this is what's going on. Where we just were is like a copy of the exterior of Annalise's throne room with nothing in it. So when we trigger the cutscene with the Crown of Illusion, what's happening is there's a duplicate of the building that we're currently in that has an interior. And it's, like, held under the map. And during the sort of, like, the snowstorm that happens with the wind and everything, it just changes position. Like, it just lifts out of the ground and sort of shoots up behind you. And it's happening now. So, like, during this thing here, it's just loading another copy of that. The building we're on is just duplicating it, only this one has an interior. There it is. So you can see there that, like, that is essentially, like, it's the same building. And something Lance has shown off, which I don't think we can see from this angle. Maybe we can, I don't know. No, we can't. It has, like, it's an identical copy right down to having the ladder in it. So, like, if we could, like, clip through the wall, we could climb onto the top of it and we would just, like, be in an identical spot to the one we're in now. And you can also see on the map that, like, there's no throne room there. There's just, like, nothing. It's empty. Because, like, originally, the room we're in now, like, the way that I showed you before, where we jumped off the edge and we ended up in the room with no interior, that's how you would have gotten to Annalise's throne room. Like, presumably, Ligarius would still have been here. You would have fought Ligarius, but, like, the fog wall, I guess, would have been here. Here. There was a little hiccup in the stream there. Yeah. And then you would have, like, somehow, we assume, like, dropped into where Annalise is. Yeah. And, like, I guess I'll talk about, like, more removed Cainhurst stuff as I wait for shit to load, but, like, Cainhurst, God, that place got butchered. Terrible. Another, like, weird thing that got cut from Cainhurst is there's an item called the doll repair kit that's, like, got bits and pieces of, like, doll stuff in it. And we had initially thought that, like, maybe you encountered the doll like this. She was broken, and you had to fix her with the repair kit to make her come to life again. But that, doll repair kit item is, we now know from all the, like, the stuff we've done, it's tagged for Cainhurst. And Cainhurst was, like, always a mid to late game area from what we can tell. So, like, the doll repair kit, it would have been, like, a mid to late game item that did something to the doll, but we don't know what. And it may have worked on, like, the doll in the workshop in the Waking World. Like, we don't know, but God, there's so much cut Cainhurst stuff, it's ridiculous. So, I am just going to go for, like, 5 minutes. I will be back. I will make contact with you. And I'll be back probably less than 5 minutes, actually. Just got to put something out. So, I will see you in a bit. Don't go anywhere. I mean, you can go somewhere if you want. I'm not trying to keep you here, but just, like, in general, I'm going to be back. Okay, I'm back, and we actually gained viewers while I was away. So I know what you will think of me. Right. So. Now we're going to go to Iosefka's clinic in the woods. That was, like, the Cainhurst Byrgenwerth thing was, like, the big, kind of, like, major, thing I wanted to show off. I've got 2 minor things to show off, and then I will show off another big thing. So, heading to the clinic. For reference, I showed this off when we were in Central Yharnam, but that's the, like, That's the area outside the clinic there. Like, there's, like, where the dead horse is. And, like, this is the clinic, this area here. But I'll show you when we get there. Obviously, like I mentioned before, the game used to start in Hemwick. Put my chair back. Oof. This is a very old chair. Very heavy. Game used to start in Hemwick. I don't know what the deal with the clinic was. It's very clearly, like, even in the game that we have now, it's clearly not actually, like, a hospital. It's, like, a residence that's been converted into a sort of field hospital because Cathedral Ward's locked. And the people of Yharnam can't get to the, like, the healing church anymore, so they're reliant on this Iosefka woman to do all their, like, medical stuff for them. She's like she's actually not part of the healing church, quite obviously. By a lot of so you can see, just do that, like, where we are now, like, we're about here. But if you look back, like, the clinic is, like, it's like, perpendicular. It's, like, it's on the same angle as the gate. Whereas in the game, they sort of twisted it that way. And if you've seen, like, Lance's exploration of the Alpha, our friendly, like, little secret passage here, that didn't used to be there. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but basically, like, the courtyard here, this is where we are now. We're in this, like, courtyard area. There was, like, a huge, like, passageway went down. It's like a giant, like, ramp. It's not this, like, see, what we're on now, it's like a very sort of ad hoc ladder. It's, like, been made very hastily. Initially, it was like a straight up, like Dungeons and Dragons sort of dungeon entrance. It went down on, was like a very, like, slight sort of, like, drop, like a ramp. And it was all, like, paved and everything, and there were these, like, corpses outside that were, where we were in, like, a praying position. Like, it clearly had some sort of other relevance. And, like, this is back before there was a Iosefka, back when, like, the clinic was, like, probably not a clinic, and it was overseen by this weird, like, old witch who kind of looks like Murgo's wet nurse. A lot of, like, stuff there that never went anywhere, but, like, so we're in Forbidden Woods now. So, Forbidden Woods is the hardest area to deal with, because there's so much geometry that the buildings and, like, just the woods sort of merge into each other. But you can kind of make out where parts are, so, like, this area here is, like, when you... I'll show it off in a sec. I have to be careful here because there's so many enemies, but, like, I will go here now. Also, if Vodka Folly is still here, obviously, like, I'm very thankful for the map images she got, but the thing the thing I was, like, it was, like, I think it was the first conversation we ever had, is these. They're dead rabbits, and the lanterns in Forbidden Woods, they have something that is burning in them, and it kind of looks like a weird monster fetus, and we didn't know what it was. And then she pointed out to me that, like, it's just one of these rabbit models, and they like, color it sort of like an off pink to show that it's burning. So all those lanterns in the woods, I don't think we can see any from where we are now, but, like, that have something burning in them, it's a burning dead rabbit. And it kind of fits with, like, there's also burning horses in this area. So I think what they're trying to get at is, like, the people of Forbidden Woods are burning animals. And it's kind of like in Yharnam how they burn incense. Because the incense in Yharnam is just burning bones. So the impression I get is, like, they burn the, they burn animals here because it produces a similar kind of, like, smell to the burning bones. It produces, like, this incense thing, and that's what's keeping the beasts out. So, yeah, thank you to Vodka for solving that. So where I am now is like I am around about here. It's like you can see the sort of the path that goes over these houses. These guys. I'm pretty tough, but the enemies are annoying, so nothing could really hurt me pre-Menses. You can see there, like it's like the most damaging hit we've taken, and it took off like 10 of our life, so worry about it. So like we're around about like here right now. So looking back, like I don't know, there's a lot of like, because we know that that cave thing wasn't there, there's this like interesting structure here that looks like it's a set of stairs that seems to have led up to this area here. But like I don't see like anything resembling that around here. So I don't know what the story was. And like I'll just rush through here. This is like this is a trap road, if you will. At this level I can take a cannonball to the face and not die, so okay. We can use the cannon. So that there, you can kind of make out there's like rectangular structures here. Those are those little huts, as far as I can tell. And yeah, it's really like, there's not a great, there probably is a great deal actually cut here, but it's hard to tell because you can't really separate the geometry from, like, the geometry of, like, what is what, because it's just this, like, mess of, just, like, random vertices. Like I was saying, if you missed the beginning of this, the map I'm looking at is the entirety of Yharnam compressed into less than one A4 page. So there is just a lot of zooming going on, Blade Runner style zoom and enhance. You can make out some parts, like that's the bridge. And like the lantern would be there. That's the bridge that we cross to get to like the rest of the Forbidden Wood. Like Bolter is like here. That's like the windmill thing. That's the other part of the windmill, and then you like go along Bolter. I think that's it for Forbidden Woods. The main interesting part here is just like there being no cavern, and then there being this, and it's the way it's constructed. It's almost like I wonder if this is the ramp, and it wasn't meant to be like a hidden cave so much as like just like a structure in Forbidden Woods with just like a staircase that led back into the clinic. Like, I don't know. We have a fair amount of Iosefka's clinic stuff actually that we can restore, because one thing Lance found that I don't think he's talked about is that like the collision maps of Iosefka's clinic are kind of still there. Like, the geometry isn't, but the sort of the map that showed you, like, what could collide with what, that's still there. And there's, like, a staircase and everything that you can see just as a wireframe. But you can't see it, like, there's no model or anything. So we may be able to figure out what was going on with the ramp at some point. Back now in... That's still the woods. Load up Old Yharnam. So, Old Yharnam is a fucking mess. It is very hard to tell what is what. Looking at it now, it looks like someone vomited on the page. So, from what I have been able to discern... this is another area that was rotated, by the way. So, Diego asking where the full map is. On the wiki, it's... Okay, on the Bloodborne wiki, it's chopped into small pieces, but there is a link, like, above that to get you the full map. It's like... It's like 4K resolution, but it's a 4K resolution photograph of an A4 page. So Old Yharnam is somewhere that was like there's literally like a note. You can't see it here that just says like rotate this area. If you've ever wondered why like parts of Old Yharnam don't quite line up with city around it, it's because they rotated it. And something that'll come up later on is that like that area there, that is where we fight the One Reborn. That's Advent Plaza. And this is Old Yharnam. But, like, we are current... Like, this is the bridge. So where we are is, like, somewhere around... You can't tell, because obviously it's an aerial map, so, like, stuff overlaps us and we can't really see it. But, like... Okay, I'll get to the bridge and show you. So where we just left, like, this area here is Yahar'gul, where you fight the One Reborn. So... Take a stroll. Get rid of some Scourge Beat. I'm going to show off the bridge. So. Let's just undo. Right, so this is the bridge we're on now. This is how I had to orient it. You can see that like it's just there's so much overlapping geometry, it just looks like a black smudge. This is where we are now. So where we were previously is like around about here somewhere. That's where Pearl was. And so like by extension like Yahar'gul would be around here. But that there is where you fight the One Reborn. That's Advent Plaza. So, yeah, the whole thing was rotated. So, like, Advent Plaza actually used to be, like, on the complete opposite side, and they've just... It looks like they, I'll do this very, very poorly with, like, the freeform selection tool. Grab this. And then... rotate it. Like there. Like they just grabbed it and they sort of went like that. So like Yahar'gul is now there. That makes sense. So, other than that, the other thing I want to show off. I'm gonna have to get rid of this stupid beasts. Right. Yeah. So we went up that street, and like the two like the building where there was like the mist, and we fought that like that beast in the mist is like there, and then you continue upward, but then there's like it sort of branches off up here, and it's where this wall is. Like, we're sort of here, and there's, like, something here that I don't quite understand. But, like, I've always wondered about this wall, because it's very, very abrupt, and if you peek over it, there's, like, rocks and stuff. There's, like, actual... Oh, actually, the other side of it. Yeah. You can, like, peek over and see the other side, and it's, like, a flat. It's just, like, a flat with one, It's just like it's a quad. A textured quad, and they've just the texture's only on one side, which to me is, and you can see like the path kind of pokes out from the bottom. If you look in like the bottom right hand corner, the path is kind of poking through. So I've always wondered, like, did this used to lead somewhere? Because it's very abrupt. They've just like shoved a wall and some grass here, and it does look like there is something here, but we don't know what it is. And then we continue around here. Like, bend over here. Like, we sort of went, like, there. And, like, that looks like the Church of the Good Chalice, but it's been moved, I think? It's difficult to tell. And then, but really confusingly, um, like the like great bridges are above us. This is what I mean about it being rotated. Like the geometry of this place is very strange. But yeah, because all this stuff was like hacked up and moved around. And like if based on this map, like we're looking at the church now, and if we look over here, we would be looking at Advent Plaza, but instead we're looking at just like a rock. Wasn't a rock. Sorry. Yeah. Lots of stuff being cutted. So, we are now going to go to what I would consider an interesting location, because I'm trying to pace this. I'm going to head back to the dream first. Notice we have dropped 0.1% of the frames. If you watched me stream Kingdom Hearts, we dropped 40% of the frames. So... walk back. I will show you Grand Cathedral layout. I'm going to start at the bottom because there's something very specific I want to show off. Because this is a time zone fuckery stream, like, Amelia is dead, but I haven't shifted the time forward. So I want to show off Yahar'gul without enemies in it. So, like, we load Lawrence's skull still has the sort of aura around it because I haven't touched it. So, let's head out. Actually, no, we'll start here. So the weird thing about the Grand Cathedral on this map is that we obviously have the cathedral itself. Obviously, like, this is the cathedral. Notably, no altar of despair out the back because it didn't exist. Next to the cathedral is this thing. And you might think, oh, is that Upper Cathedral Ward? No, that's Upper Cathedral Ward. There's Upper Cathedral Ward, there's the bridge you take, and there's Lumen Flower Gardens. So there is a whole, like, chunk of geometry here, and I don't know what it is. I have a suspicion that is just the inside of the cathedral. And maybe it, like, they stored it there for some reason, or, like, maybe it's just, like, a placeholder to show the inside, but, like, obviously that matches the inside of the cathedral, because you've got, like, there's the windows along the side, see them marked out, and then, like, the altar would be here, and it's this, like, semicircle shape to fit the altar in. And also, no altar of despair, because it didn't exist. Stop trying to make sense of it, doesn't make sense. So, we're, like, here, but we'll pop out around about here. So the thing I want to show off when we go out the front is... And if you've been following Lance, like, you will know what I'm about to show off. So there is Lumen Flower Gardens. Marking it out. There's the path to Yahar'gul. Off to the side of the cathedral. Like, there's the stairs to the... And there is... Upper Cathedral. Ew. You will know from watching Lance's streams and videos and stuff that there used to be an elevator that went down from Lumen Flower Garden to the bottom of the cathedral, and it was cut late-ish. Now, I will show you that I showed this off when I did time zone manipulation, but I didn't show it off the way I want. It's here. See, if you kind of look at this... Oh, that's kind of awkward. There's just, like, a brick texture with some like, statues randomly placed in front of it. So, I'll leave some... Now, this is a thing I have to do, because if I reload the map by either warping or dying, these coins disappear, so I have to do all this on foot. So... get comfy, because this might take a while. This is the only use I have found for shining coin. Other than, like... Some people have made some interesting, like, troll videos where they just make something glow. So we're coming into, like, serious stuff that got removed. So this could be a little more interesting. So I think we've done a... Of some... We're talking about that door in Cathedral Ward earlier that doesn't open. Like, one of the first like instances of using shining coins I remember is somebody showed off. Like, they stuck a bunch of shining coins in the door and then ran to Cathedral Ward, and you could see how it all linked. We've laid our little trail. So now I've got to run to Upper Cathedral Ward, and hopefully I don't fall off the tower. If I fall off the tower, we will have to do this again. Let's switch to full. Because again, if I warp from... If I die at any point, or if I try warping, it will despawn the coin. The coins only stay there as long as you don't reload any. So now the biggest challenge I find is just trying to get up this tower without falling off. Because even if they don't damage you much at our ludicrously high level, some of those guns have massive knockback, and if they hit you, you just go flying. And it's possible to be catapulted off the edge and just die. And yeah, we will be coming back here again. Okay. Another shining coin. Oh, also, because I've done time zone manipulation, there's not going to be a sky in Upper Cathedral. It's going to be grey, but that kind of helps us, because it means you get a slightly clearer view of things. You weren't here for time zone manipulation. Upper Cathedral Ward has a sky up until you get halfway up these stairs, and it despawns. So there's now just no sky. So we gotta kill these guys because they're really annoying. It'd be great if, like, I get frenzied to that point. Got 0 insights. So we left a trail of coin, and there they are. You can see that a bunch of the coins are just floating in the air, and then the ones that we stuck in the statues, they're all hovering around a door. So that is... That is here. That is the original way in which you got to, like, the Yahar'gul side of the chapel, cathedral. Because you can see that there is no path there. Like, it was just a dead end. The only way to get over there was through a lift. And the lift goes up to Windflower Gardens. I can actually show you where it is, but, like, it's not super necessary. It's just, like, one of the little, like, side alcoves. It just would have been a lift. And then I guess, like, I don't know if the emissary was a boss at this point, but whatever. From Lumenflower Gardens, you would just get the lift down, and it would lead there, and that is how you would reach Yahar'gul. You can also see, just with regard to the design of Upper Cathedral, Like, this is Upper Cathedral. Hang on, I'll take off the colours for a bit. This part here, that's Upper Cathedral Ward that we visit. Like, it's got, you can see there's the balcony with the main hall. And it's like two, like there's the central area and everything. And then off to the side, there is this structure here. And that structure would lead to the bridge, and the bridge would lead to Lumen Gardens. But the way it's set up now is the way it's set up now is that like there is nothing over here. That's like gone. How it works in game is like there's that place there, and then after you get the orphanage key, it just leads up like this. Like there's stairs to go up and then up, and Lumen Gardens is here. So this whole section is gone. It's just like removed. So I have no idea what was there. But one of the things about Upper Cathedral Ward, which like, you know, I've talked about and other people have talked about and no one knows the answer to, is that they're burning something. You can see there's a lot of smoke coming out of the chimney. And there's clearly a third floor. So like, the highest we ever get is the second floor, which is like, that's where the make contact corpse is. You can't go any higher than that. But there's clearly another story to the building, and we just never go there. So whatever was burning, presumably like it did mean something, and they like had to just remove it for whatever reason. And I guess we'll never know unless like one digs something up. I guess while we're here, I will show off. If you want a good look at Yharnam's like coast, because it's like a coastal city. Get rid of this. It's a lot easier to look at when the guy hasn't loaded. Yeah. You can see like Yharnam is, it's like surrounded by water. And because like there's the dry docks area, like the fact that it has dry docks, like just always implied to me, okay, it's like a port town, I guess. Like it's this insular town, and it must like trade. Like it clearly doesn't seem to have any industry beyond producing blood. So it must like just trade. And that's why there's all these like dry ducts and aqueducts. Because there's all these like boats coming and going. So that's all I wanted to show off with regard to the cathedral. There's one more place I want to show off. It's going to be in two parts, because we're getting toward, like, massively confusing just garbage going. I just closed MS. Yeah, Diego just pointed out that, like, an early version of the Upper Cathedral Ward, and, like, the lower part as well, that was found in Dark Souls Remastered. Because this game has been in development since Artorias of the Abyss, it looks. And because it's running off the same engine, they were just, like, testing parts of it. So Dark Souls Remastered has in it an early version of Upper Cathedral Ward that someone extracted, and they made it work as a GTA 5 map. And that video is up on the Bloodborne wiki if you want to see it. It's like it. I think it didn't have any texture, so they just shoved like a random brick texture on it. So it doesn't. It's not exactly aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, you can run around or drive around because it's GTA, like this old version of Upper Cathedral Ward. So I am now in the old workshop. Show some things off. This is going to be another shining coin. So yeah, I'm gonna have to mark out the perimeter of the whole building. I have done this a lot, and it's quite tedious. I actually have a folder on my desktop just called Coin Fun. Yeah, I just got blood echoes because there's something around here that I think it's like outside the geometry or something, and it just dies. And because people would run here and see the doll, there was this like really early theory that like, oh, the when you see the doll, you get blood echoes because doll blood is the thing. I'm also like kind of annoyed they limit you to carrying 99 coins because it means you have to be sort of like you can't mark out things that accurately like this. So we just got to get a rough idea of where all the roads, where all the paths that lead to the workshop. And yeah, this is going to involve climbing the fuck off tower again. Oh no, it's not actually. I just have to get out the bottom. We get to climb the fuck off tower later on. We've marked that out, and I also want. This is going to pay off, I promise. Like 75 shining coins, and it's still not enough to properly. Okay. Plonk. Embarrassing. I really like this part of Cathedral Ward. Like, very kind of compressed. Because, like, when they announced Bloodborne was going to be set in a city, they sort of got the impression it was going to be, like, a much more cramped kind of, like, map than Dark Souls had. I thought, oh, that's going to be interesting because you're going to have to, like, really pay attention to positioning and stuff. But, you really don't. Like, despite the fact this is urban, it's the areas are just really, really wide. Like, they're probably wider than most of the, like, paths in Dark Souls. Kind of run by everything. Even the Chalice dungeons, but, like, that particular part of Yharnam is so cramped that, like, you have to... It's quite stressful. You have to, like, really pay attention how you're, like, moving and everything. Because you can very easily get caught in a dead end or stuck in a situation where if you try to, like, use your weapon, it'll, like, bash into it. Okay. I killed the two hunters here, so... That's where the workshop is. So what happened was, the workshop was here, and then they very hastily redesigned this area, and basically just, like, grabbed it and shoved it over here. And, like, if you've been following Lance's stuff, you will know that, like, they had, like, you can see there, that path there, like, that's the stairs. They led all the way down there, and then, like, the workshop's, like, it's floating here. And the actual workshop is there. So they didn't move it much. They just sort of, like, yanked it. And yeah, if you've been following Lance's stuff, you'll know that, like, there used to be a real deal, like, proper pathway, not the weird stairs, to the workshop, and it was, like, studded with graves. And that's what we're going to look at now. So, because I had to crop this, you can't see the note, but, like, this here, this particular arrow here, that is pointing to the workshop. The note basically says base. Base meaning the Hunter's Dream / workshop. At this point, like, both the Hunter's Dream and the workshop are referred to as the base. So you can see that that pathway from Lumenflower Gardens went down to the workshop. So it looks like you would have gone from Lumenflower Gardens down, across, and then there's just, like, a pathway that leads to the workshop, which, like, roughly here. And that workshop, the next area it connects to is Yahar'gul, which is here. And I can show off. I don't think I will because it's kind of tedious, but, like, actually, fuck it, let's... No, I can't, because I don't have any coins. Hang on. Got 9 coins. Not gonna work. But if you do the same thing, if you see, like, the Yahar'gul, like, the chapel entrance where the amygdala is, if you do what I did in the workshop, and you lay shining coins... Actually, let's try it with the 9 coins we've got left. Can we do it? It's like an investment, like, strategy. Can I turn these 9 shining coins into worthwhile content? Probably. Oh, actually, we can see the workshop from here. Yeah. An interesting angle on it. Yep, there is. That's where the workshop would have been relative to Yahar'gul. And... I will try to, like, make this work, but I can't promise these right point. Oh, we're gonna have to do the fall thing to the workshop, aren't we? God, I'm doomed. We'll just, like, shove them here and hope for the best. What I'm gonna try doing is, yeah, as you can see from here, like, the workshop is over there, and that position stays consistent, like, to Yahar'gul. So if we go back to the workshop, which will involve the stupid silo thing. So if I die on the way, I won't bother. But, like, if we go back to the workshop, you'll be able to see that, like, the coins I laid in Yahar'gul are still visible, like, they're visible as if we were standing in the air. So, like, they'll show up quite close to where we are. So I'll just, look this in. If anyone's got any questions, ask them in the, like, minute I've got spare while I'm rushing here to, go up that stupid tower. people asking about, like, Bloodborne, remastered Bloodborne, like, I don't think we're gonna get that. I mean, I think, like, they'll probably, like, re-release it for... Have I looked at the areas jumped from the top of the tower? Yeah, we can do it, because we haven't reloaded the area, so the coins will still be there. The problem is just, like, I don't want to get shot off the side by that fucker with the rifle. So we'll have a look on the way up, just in case we fall, and... Okay, you can just, like, make out the... Yeah, like, you can see them twinkling. That's, like, the pathway. We can... If we fall down, we can get a better look, but I want to climb up. No, actually, I don't. Do I want to go down? Ah. Yeah, that's... You get a slightly better look from... It's sort of hard to make out, but you can see little, like, the twin. Like, that's the pathway. That's, like, where those stairs are. And the workshop is somewhere off in the... Alright. This is the hardest boss in Bloodborne. Jesus Christ, we made it. So we should be able to see the coins we laid at Yahar'gul. Like floating in. Oh, there we are. Good, okay. Like top center, you can see. That's the entrance to Yahar'gul Chapel. Not Yahar'gul Chapel, the lantern, but like that's where the amygdala is. You can see that like they've yanked it like down. Like it's with those coins are in the air. So like this whole area was repositioned. And it's all like go back here. Because the workshop would have gone like workshop's there, Yahar'gul is right there. Like that's I'll show you. Let's undo all this. That's the workshop. That's like Yahar'gul. That's where when you beat Rom, you get teleported to this area here. So the workshop's right there, and then there's just like there's some sort of like door or entrance there, and that completely lines up when we look over there. Because that there was the ground in front of that cathedral with the amygdala. So presumably there would have been like a bridge or something that would have just led directly there. So now, I guess while we're talking Yahar'gul, we can go there and enjoy an enemy-free tour. Because I screwed with the time zones. So I guess while we're loading that up, you can see that, like, Yahar'gul, there's just bits on this map. It is literally in pieces. It's not stuck together properly. It's just, like, corridors and rooms and... they're, like, obviously in the game. I don't think they would have been like that. Although I'm wondering, like... For all we know, they had some kind of, like, nightmare deal going on with Yahar'gul, and maybe they wanted all the areas floating in nothingness, I don't know. But, like, we are gonna... We'll end up here. I'll go back to... Gonna end up here. That's where we, like, warp in. And because of time zone fuckery, there's nothing in Yahar'gul. There's no amygdala, and there's no enemies, so we can just wander around and not worry about being zapped or grabbed or killed by respawning. It's lovely. So, we are... Where are we again? Okay, this is where the elevator is. Hang on, I'll show you. This is like the main street area, and there's the gate. At, oh, there's the gate. Hang on. That's like where the elevator shortcut is, I'm pretty sure. So, we face... Like... I think this is the... Yeah, it's really hard to tell because the map is, like, floating around. This is, like... That's where One Reborn is fought. You can see, like, there's the two, like, galleries where you can snipe at it. This is, I think, where Mikolash's corpse is. You can, like, you can see, okay, there's the stairs that go up, and then there's this, like, area here with, that Mikolash would be there. That would, like, slot into that. And, again, like, that's apparently the Church of the Good Chalice, because that area was rotated. So, hang on, we'll just orient ourselves by facing their, One Reborn. Okay, so One Reborn is this way. Yeah, okay, I recognize what. So the One Reborn's directly in front of us. So we're like facing this way now. So off to the... Yeah, so like... Oh no, I was wrong. It looks like this area here is... This is like the where we are now. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah, because that's the like area and that's the elevator. Because they've hacked up the geometry. So yeah, this is enemyless Yahar'gul. There's not, because the map is a mess. I'm just going to switch back to full screen. I will show you a few things while I'm here, and I don't have to worry about being shot. You can see up there. This room has a second floor. And, like, Lance has no-clipped through this. And he's shown off that, like, that's not just for show. There is actual shit up there. It's nothing significant, but there's, like, statues and stuff, kind of like the ones down here, and you can walk on it. And, like, there's just a lot in Yahar'gul that... Because, like, the way the Yahar'gul works is that you're constantly being shot by respawning snipers. So you're just going, like, shit, and running through it. But there's a lot of, like, just weird rooms and... Like, this has another floor, too. There's just everywhere. And, like, we never go there. Because you're in these rooms for about, like... I don't know... 10 or 20 seconds before you just, like, dash out the door because a giant spider is shooting. I'm like... Hang on, what else was there to show off? You can sort of make out where some of these rooms are. This room... I think, is that where... Yeah, Arby's just saying that they never noticed the second floors. Yeah, there's so much going on in this place. But, like... You know, this building I'm looking at now, that normally has a giant spider on it. That is constantly shooting a laser at you. So you're just like, shit, trying not to get killed. But yeah, I don't know, there's a lot going on. This, the internal name for this place is Sacrifice City. So they always, like, had that plan, I guess. And again, discussing, like, vistas. Like, I don't know. It looks a lot like you entered Yahar'gul this way. Because that's like a very impressive sort of like set piece that you walk in and you see the huge cathedral and the like fractured amygdala statue. But yeah, like again, I would show off more of Yahar'gul, but like as I showed, it's all in pieces. And also like uh yeah, that's where the one reborn is fought on the ground, because like this arrow here says something like sacrifice city boss. Like that like slotted into there and led to there, and then this was Mikolash. But curiously, like the map doesn't mention a warp with Mikolash, and we know from the just back to full screen. We know from like what I was saying about Hemwick that Mikolash, like you would have met him in Hemwick, and then that would have warped you to the nightmare frontier, slash nightmare of Mensis area. And that, yeah, so like there wouldn't have been a Mikolash corpse warp at the end of this, I guess. So, I think we pretty much showed off all of it. I don't think there's any maps we didn't cover, because the nightmare areas aren't included. I'll bring up the full map again to give you an idea. So, like, for scale, that thing is a paperclip. So that gives you a rough idea of the size of the image we're working with. This, by the way, this is the thing that says Trap Road. Like, that's Japan, that's, like, phonetic, it just says Trap Road. And that's just the internal name for the Nightmare of Mensis / Nightmare Frontier area. So you would have gone there from the back of Witch's Abode. This is interesting because they've written Sushi Zanmai near Cainhurst. And I have no idea if that is just a joke or that is because... Like, Sushi Zanmai just means, like, I love sushi. So it's like the name of a sushi chain. And I'm wondering if, like, it's kind of clear at this point that the fishing hamlet idea started off as Cainhurst. And it was going to be that, like, instead of Byrgenwerth massacring the hamlet and stealing the Orphan of Cos, like, body parts from there, it was going to be the heel, and that was, like, the original sin that caused all this shit to go down. The original sin would have been the massacre of Cainhurst. So, like, Lawrence and co would have shown up in Cainhurst, and, like, they would have massacred the place with, like, the execution of the wheels and everything. And that would have been the, like, original sin. And it's got, like, Sushi Zanmai, and I'm thinking, like, is that a joke, or does that actually mean that, like, the people of Cainhurst, they were going to be more like the fish people. They were going to be more like slug-like. Because of the, they were like consuming the flesh of a great one or something. Because if people are aware of like the Slug Princess, she's a character who's like removed from the game. But she's like, she's very Uzumaki. She's like an early draft of the Snail Women from the Hamlet. And she's all like knotted up. She's like twisted around like an Uzumaki character, but she's got a blindfold on, and it looks like Annalisa's blindfold. And I'm wondering if, like, was the secret of Cainhurst going to be that, like, they were descended from fish people or something? And that's like, it says Sushi Zanmai. I don't know. There's so much here that, like, I don't understand at all. And yeah, like, you can see, like, there's the red arrows there that show how areas connected. You can see, like, from this direction, Cathedral Ward is, like, a real hub. Like, you've got, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. And, I think that's about it. I don't know what else there is to show off. I think we've done it all. I'm noticing there's a couple of little things, like, that area there. That's like the dry docks in central Yharnam, but it's much longer and it kind of curves around. I don't know where it went. But yeah, the limitation of this is like the size, obviously, but also the the fact it's just aerial. Like, it's just from the top. So, that's kind of... I'll bring up Old Yharnam again. That's what makes Old Yharnam so, like, impossible to figure out, because it's underneath the rest of Yharnam. So, like, there's just stuff covering it. Like, this is just, like, part of Cathedral Ward, and it's covering up most of Old Yharnam because it's seen from the top. I guess another example of, like, stuff changing, like... Oh, here's a good one, actually. You know where Old Yharnam is, so I won't go back there, but, like, there's the bridge. Paul was, like, here. There's the Church of the Good Chalice. But then... This is the bridge that leads to Gascoigne. Like, Gascoigne's boss room is there. So, like, the church sort of, like, it went from there and it ended up there. It's, like... It's all over the place. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed it and you learned a little bit about the development. I think that's about it. So, I guess, like, that went off pretty well. I thought it was going to go for hours and I'd end up falling off the tower, but... Oh, actually, before we go, I'll show you one more thing. Because I've been showing off, like, time zone manipulation. There was something I hadn't thought of. Oh, hey, Bob, we just finished. But this is gonna stay up. So, just before we finish, I'm gonna show you that, because I screwed with the time zones, we can see the pre-DLC cutscene during the evening. You can usually only see it at night. Although now I'm thinking maybe you can... I think it's just after Amelia, so maybe you can see this one. Regardless. Most people won't see it this way because they'll touch the spell immediately. Dollar. There he is. Ah. Hey, Dalek. We just finished, I'm sorry. Anyway, there is an amygdala by sunset. I guess you don't normally see. Yeah, the third floor of the I don't understand what the hell is going on with Upper Cathedral Ward at all. It's always burning. So, like... maybe, is it incense? I don't think so, because it's like... Oh, hi Salvador, we just finished. Neo Lucky, thank you for the $5. Yeah, as SP saying could be to ward off beasts, it could be that, but, like, I don't know, because there's this whole third floor that's gone. And, like, we also know that, like... They might be burning kids. That is possible. Yeah, because we know that, like, there is a cut item that's the key to the next floor. And we know it exists, but we don't know, like, the third floor's not there anymore, so there's no way to get there. Let's just, make contact with Oz. So, yeah. I will, I guess, like, see you around. I don't know what else there is to do in Bloodborne at this point. I guess if new stuff comes to light, I'll stream that, but I think, this is, yeah. I don't know. I want to say that, like, we've run out of stuff to talk about, but that's clearly never going to happen, because new stuff keeps happening. So, yeah, I will see all you people round. If you, I mentioned... Actually, I'll bring up the old, For people who just showed up and don't know what the hell's going on. So, we went through... It was an early development map of Yharnam that was... It was on display at an exhibition in London. Astral Lace and Vodka Folly, who were both in the chat, I don't know if they still are. I think Astral Lace is still here, but Vodka's gone. They went there and they took a photo of it. The photo was given to myself and the woman who runs the Bloodborne wiki, and we like went over it, scaled it, rotated it, hacked it up to like show you the different areas and how they changed. If you go to bloodbornewiki.com and then you go, there's like these different tabs up the top. If you go to other information and click Art of Bloodborne, there is a section on the exhibition. It wasn't just the map, there was a whole lot of other stuff as well. There's like concept art. There's an even earlier map of Cathedral Ward there, but it's so unlike the one that we have that comparison sort of isn't possible. Like, it's so completely different. So head over there, and I guess like give Astrolace and Vodka a follow on Twitter. Vodka is a very good artist. She just did some Elden Ring art, and Astrolace is she's a Vocaloid person, and we had her on an episode, and I can't remember what we talked about. But I'm sure, yeah, she'll come back at some point to talk about Vocaloids with us. And yeah, I guess, see you people around. So good night, everyone.